There's the outside quick disconnect, and the inside one is what we're going to do in this video, and I think you will understand why it's probably a good idea to do this one. So you basically have a very small inline filter that's in this aluminum part of your quick disconnect, which is here and here. And I've already taken the clamp off of here. The fuel comes out of this spigot here. I'm going to mention while I'm here that this part of this 90-degree spigot is plastic, and many people are kind of into changing it because if you fall over, the bike kicks a rock and this breaks, well, that's it. That's it for the day. Now, some people make just this part in metal that you can do. However, I'm going to suggest to you that you use the high flow one that we've made. We make our own, which of course is all aluminum. The few good things about it is it's the lowest profile one, which is nice, less stuff to hit. But the inside passages are big enough now to flow enough fuel to your bike. So if you're wide open for more than a few seconds, the bikes do start to lean out, and that is because these patches in this thing just don't flow enough. So even if you do the outside nut, you still have the restriction of the inside nut. So just go ahead and put a real man one on there, not a stupid one. So we're going to switch this now, and to get to the filter, you squeeze the metal part, squeeze and pull. And now watch your eyes, because if there's fuel pressure in there, it's going to blow. So kind of hold my hands over it. There is a clamp on it. It looks like this. It's called an Oberon type of clamp. It goes around and connects on itself. The best way to get it off is to just squeeze underneath the tangs here with some side snips. Squeeze, they'll kind of pull up, grab them, rip them off, and you'll be able to pull the clamp off. At which point, you don't need to do that to see the filter, but then this thing will come out. So let's go ahead and take this out. Sometimes they stick a little bit, so you might have to grab it with pliers. But you can see here, this is your filter that is in here, and this is what they expect you to replace. Now you can see how small this thing is, and that pokes in here. So you'll get a bunch of these, the little white filters, in your toolkit, and you'll wonder why. It's because they have a tendency to clog up so much, and you'll be out there riding around the trail, and your bike will start to run like crap, that you're just supposed to pull over and change it. Well, it's not that easy to get out. I mean, you can't get out with anything, so you'd have to have a pick or something to be able to get in there to even get it out, or you'd never get it out. All right, even that's kind of a pain. So that's out. Now you're going to replace it. Well, why screw with that when you can just use one of these better filters that we've made, which acts as one half side of your quick disconnect, 2 O-rings instead of 1, and then it has a large filter in there. This one's rebuildable. You can take it apart, you can clean it lifelong. This one's actually not rebuildable. It's just a little bit smaller, a little bit less expensive. This one has 6 times the filtering area, this one has 7. So you can see, here's the element, right? A pleated stainless steel element, 20 microns. That's in ours, and this is the stock one. So this is 7 times bigger than this, which is nice. You can just go, a few thousand miles and not have to worry about it. So now that you've got it apart and you kind of understand what's going on there, you don't want to put this in here first because it'll open up this plunger, it'll push it open, and then the fuel starts to flow. So this thing's purpose is to shut the fuel off. So we give you a hose clamp. You're going to put it together. And no matter which one you use, the rebuildable or the non-rebuildable, they will go forever in comparison to the stock one. Now the non-rebuildable one is glued together. This one has an O-ring in between these two surfaces. Grab the nut here, grab the nut here, take it apart. If for some reason you put it together and it kind of leaked around here, well, just tighten it down. It's just an O-ring. There's a general rule we should be doing them fine. And there you go. Put it together until it snaps. If you think you have it together but you haven't heard the snap, this side won't open and the bike won't start, and that will frustrate you. So you got the snap, you're good. Let's start this thing up and make sure she rock and rolls. There you go, it looks good, no leaks. Now let's move on to the inside tank filter. Okay, let's try changing the inside fuel filter. Now the tank comes off. Here's where the shrouds are gonna come off, the seat's gonna come off. You're gonna unclip your wires from this connection here. Pour the gas out. I'm gonna try to do this as good as I can and stay out of the way. The whole assembly is going to come out from this area right here. This is a 6mm wrench. The only reason I'm making you watch this or deal with this is because this is what you're going to have to deal with. So if I just cut it short or make it look easy, in a way that's kind of providing you a disservice, I believe. So there you got that. These are both 17mm. It isn't hard. Basically, this is just general hand tools to fix this. And the thing is, if it splits and you have issues, you're going to have to do this anyhow. So it's just easier to do it beforehand. And you can, well, I mean, while we're here, you can see how small these passageways are in here. It's a real tight fit in here and small passageways. This is why this particular kind of filter is a restriction in fuel flow. It's no big deal if you're just tooling around, but if you're wide open for a few seconds, through a sand wash, up a hill, GNCC racing, snow biking, that's a big restriction. This one just holds it in place. Okay, and this is the one that obviously the fuel comes out of. So they go together, punk them out, push them out. And on these newer tanks, it's a thinner tank. And here's a problem. This is a big problem, which is great that you actually get to see this. Huge problem. Another good reason to get this stuff sorted out before it causes you issues. So look at all this crap, all this white stuff. Right? There shouldn't be in here, should it? Look, it's all flakes of stuff. This is all going to clog your filters. This is horrible, horrible stuff. It's all going to clog your filters. And you know what this is? This is leftover residue. This whole tank, look, is just full of crap. This is all stuff from cutting the tank. Okay, so cleaning of the tank, it was a disappointment, but to let you know how it cleans, all this kind of stuff here is much easier to get off because you can get to it. So carburetor cleaner helps a lot. Just spraying along this, it will get most of it off. Compressed air also help with the rest of it. That got this aspect of it clean. While you're in there, you would squeeze these tabs, pull the top of this fuel pump assembly up, pull the fuel pump up, and there's a screen on the bottom of it. And that actually had a gel kind of goo on it. So let's show you that. So you squeeze these 4 tabs right here. This assembly, here's your fuel pump, here's the strainer on the bottom of it. It pulls out of your shell right here, and then this is your strainer on the bottom of the deal. This is what originally, and there's still some white crap on there. It's pretty bad. You can just break it right off. So the plastic actually turned into a gel kind of paste with the gas, and it clogged this whole outside of it. So of course the thing can't even get fuel to get going, but you could take your carburetor cleaner and spray most of that junk out, get it clean, put this thing back together. Now we do have better fuel pumps for these bikes, and we do have ways to improve your fuel pump housing, but for right now we're just kind of showing you what to do to, honestly, to cover your butt, just to get going on these things. Sometimes they're not that fun to put these things back together, but I just jam them. God, I hate these things sometimes. There you go. It's all back together. Okay, so now this is clean. The tank, that was a lot harder. The way that it finally ended up getting it clean was you go to the hardware store and you get to buy these tapered rubber stoppers and you get to put them in these holes so they stay. And then, this is about the only stuff that works. Goof Off Pro Strength Remover. It's high pressure, so it gets in there so you can spray it in all the nooks and crannies all throughout the tank. That hole, this hole down here, get the thing pretty well coated in there, let it hang out for a few hours, flush the thing out in the bathtub, really hot water, in through this and here. But the stopper keeps it from coming out the holes, shake it around, pour it out, and it becomes properly clean, so now you can use it. So thank God, that was a sidetrack. I apologize for that, but those are things you need to know. Now we're going to change this filter here. This is your plastic InTank filter, the one where the shell has a tendency to split. If this splits, you lose fuel pressure, the bike's going to run like crap or not run at all, and then you get a long way to get home. So let's replace this now with our good billet filters. Okay, moving a little quick because I really don't want to take up a whole ton of time. There's a separate video that we have out just a few minutes on what it takes to get this filter out of here and replace it with one of our bigger billet ones. This is the biggest one that we've got, right? It's aluminum shell, it won't split. That houses this huge filter, which is huge compared to the little filter that's in either the white filter that comes on these things or the black one. The filters are the same, just different casings. They're both plastic, they're both no good. Or we have this one here, which is actually the same size as the stock one, so it fits better in like motocross tanks and older tanks, and it's easier to kind of get in there sometimes. And that houses this filter, which is a large stainless steel screen pleated filter. And you know, all these things, both of them are lifelong. You can take this thing apart, right, unscrew it, and then you can blow it out with carburetor cleaner from the inside out, and you can clean this thing for the rest of its natural life. You might want to watch the other videos on how to switch these things out, but basically you're going to take these little clamps off right here. You're just going to squeeze these underneath with the dikes. Squeeze, you're going to pop them off, and then you have to pull these lines off, sometimes using heat. I'm just using my wife's hair dryer to kind of heat these things up a little bit, make them more pliable. You can kind of twist the filter, that'll help break it loose. And then sometimes if it's still a pain, you can take a little screwdriver, dig underneath the where the tube goes on right here, and just spray a little WD-40 in there. Just keep working the things, it'll loosen up, it'll easily come off. There's no barbed fittings on these filters, so once they start to slide, they're pretty easy to get off. Then you're just going to replace it with our better filter. Goes towards the pump side as the gas comes into the filter, and we give you these replacement clamps to just crimp it back together, and you would just squeeze it back together with your Dykes pliers, just like that. And life's good. So now you've avoided many, many, many weak links. I'm going to switch this. I'm going to put the tank back together, and as far as that, steps 3 and 4 in our top 10, we're done.